Alright, so we got a couple of stories to get into in this video right here today. Both of them dealing with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And we've actually been into these two topics already on this channel. These are just really updates right here. So first we're going to be talking about the Super Eagles coaching search situation. Of course, we've already talked about Hervé Renard, one of the candidates for the job. And now we got 3 more candidates that we're going to be talking about in this video. And also we're going to be talking about the breaking news. Victor Osimhen, the reported interest in him from PSG has been gaining more traction. And we're going to be talking about one report that I saw this morning, a couple reports that I saw this morning on the situation. But before that, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much. So yeah, starting with the Super Eagles coaching situation. Of course, the spot has been left vacant ever since the resigning of Finidi George, Super Eagles legend Finidi George, by the way. And last time we talked about a name that had been floating around as to one of the candidates for the job, and that was Hervé Renard. And at the end, I came to the conclusion that it was a little bit too much money being asked for by Hervé Renard, and that we need to basically search somewhere else to find somebody affordable who can also do the job. But now we got these 3 candidates that are looking like or on the short list, and we're gonna go through them real quick. Steve McLaren, Englishman, assistant coach for Manchester United, currently actually used to be an assistant coach for Manchester United back in the day under Ferguson. He has had some pretty good success as a coach, coaching in England, coaching in Netherlands, Germany, actually coached the English national team for a year, but I believe they failed to go to Euros or something, and he got fired or he left the position, one of the two. And speaking of 2, the second coach will be Eric Schell, a Frenchman who was recently dismissed as head coach of the Malian national team last month after the World Cup qualifiers. Of course, took them to the AFCON, had that big meme moment when they got knocked out by Ivory Coast in the quarterfinals, when water had to be poured on his head and all that. Was the coach of the Malian team when they defeated the Super Eagles not too long ago, 2-0 in Morocco, was the head coach then. And for the third coach, you got Tom Saint-Fiet of Belgium, currently the head coach of the Philippines national team, was previously the gaffer of the Gambian national team, actually took them to back-to-back AFCONs, and then funny enough, he was actually hired by the NFF to be the technical director in 2012. But it ended up not working out. Now, the funny thing about that story is around 2012, the head coach of the the Super Eagles was Stephen Keshi. But you go to 2018, and Saint-Fiet was the head coach of Malta, and he actually got fired for the same reason Stephen Keshi got fired from the Super Eagles. His name was listed among the coaches that applied for the Cameroon job at that time, and his federation found that out, and they sacked him, just like the NFF with Stephen Keshi. Now, definitely let me know your thoughts on who you would pick out of these 3 managers right here. But if it was up to me, I think I'd go with Saint-Fiet. I feel like he is a coach that has been around for a while, even though he's a young coach, 51 years of age. He has had over 26, 27 years of experience. He has coached in the African continent, knows what the game is about on this level. Now, I'm not saying he would be absolutely perfect for the job, but I feel like if I'm going to pick somebody out of these 3 coaches, he'll be the one I'd select. Because for me, I feel like he's a better fit in this job than the other coaches. Eric Schell, definitely not a bad coach, the Frenchman. I felt like he put together a good team with Mali. I felt like they could have been contenders at the last AFCON all the way till their match against Ivory Coast. But we saw what happened at the end. It was like everybody let go. It was just poor discipline and all that kind of stuff. Even though Mali To be real, no disrespect to Malians or anything, but they've dealt with discipline in the past. I remember a captain and one of his players getting into it at a haircut spot. So Mali has always had, not always, but you go back, they've had discipline issues, and that kind of showed its face at the AFCON and maybe in the last matches they've played, because I ain't watched their last World Cup qualifiers, to be honest. Now with Steve McLaren, I don't really even see how this makes sense. This is somebody that has coached his whole life in Europe. It's not even coached in Asia. It's not coached in Africa. So I don't know how you just feel like he's gonna come over here and do something right away. And you definitely need somebody that will come in and do something right away. Of course, you would expect them to build for the future also, but we're in trouble right now. And I just don't think a coach whose only international experience is failing to get England in the Euros will now come and just change the day for us. I don't see it. I might be wrong, but I don't see what this one is about right here. Now, moving on to the Victor Osimhen PSG situation. First of all, before I talk about it, we're gonna play this clip right here so we can get basically the gist of it. Then we're gonna come back and give our 2 cents.
Breaking news, we're hearing Paris Saint-Germain are in talks to sign Victor Osimhen from Napoli in a deal that also has implications for Romelu Lukaku's future at Chelsea. Discussions are ongoing around a deal that may involve at least one PSG player moving to Napoli in the opposite direction. The players that PSG have put forward include Carlos Soler, Norda Makelele and South Korean forward Lee Kang-in. Lee is the only player Napoli have indicated an interest in so far. So does this mean Napoli will then make a move for Lukaku? Now, he spent last season on loan at Roma and he's wanted by new Napoli boss Antonio Conte. They worked together at Inter, winning the league for the first time in 11 years in 2021.
So yeah, PSG looking keen to sign Victor Osimhen. And like the reporter said, it might be a deal that involves a player going the other way from PSG to Napoli. Then they're going to add some money on top. And then Lukaku comes in because that's Antonio Conte's guy. Of course, they won that league title with Inter Milan. And he would like to bring him into Napoli. And of course, that would mean that he would sell Victor Osimhen, then use some of the cash to pay Chelsea to give him Romelu Lukaku. From what I've seen from Victor Osimhen, he looks like he's happy at Napoli. He doesn't look like he's frowning, pouting, trying to force his way out the team. But you got this tweet right here from Fabrizio Romano. And you know when Fabrizio says something, he got something to it. It says, PSG are advancing in talks with Victor Osimhen's camp as their interest is now getting concrete. Osimhen keen on joining PSG and open to the move if they can agree on deal/fee with Napoli. He'd be very high on PSG's list if one central striker left. So this one right here is talking about the club and player holding talks. They're saying Victor Osimhen open to a move to PSG as long as they can make a deal with Napoli. And then that connects with the last clip that we just heard when they saying PSG and Napoli negotiating. PSG got 3 players up for offer and Napoli really want only one of those players. So I'm thinking they're going to give them one player plus some money. Of course, Napoli not a stranger to those type of deals. That's how they got Osimhen in the first place. Now, when it comes to Victor, I feel like this might just be a situation where you want to take the next step in your career. You've done a lot at Napoli, won the league title for the first time in 30 years, took them to the semifinals of the Champions League. So you've done a lot, even though it's been in a short time. And you might just want to see what you do at a bigger stage. And of course, this is a team that will always be in the Champions League. And speaking of the Champions League, a team that is looking for the Champions League, you know, frantically trying to win the Champions League. And of course, Victor Osimhen, looking at what he did with Napoli, bringing them their first league title in over 30 years, he would want to back himself to do the same thing at PSG. Now, not to pat myself on the back, but I've been saying PSG would be the destination since last season. Since I found out Kylian Mbappe was leaving from PSG, I just felt like they would have to bring a superstar into the club. Victor Osimhen is exactly that. He's a player that has played in France already. They know what he brings to the table. And a lot of people have been saying that the reason why he is not being signed right now is because of the release clause that he put in his contract, that his club put in his contract. I don't really agree with that all the way. Because first of all, a release clause is just so you can basically go over a team's head and grab the player if you want. So if you have 130 million euros, you can walk in there and just walk out with Victor Osimhen, no questions asked. But if you want to negotiate, you can always negotiate. The release clause doesn't mean the final amount. It doesn't mean how much you have to pay. It just means if you don't want to negotiate, you just come with that amount and none asked. Just like Neymar with Barcelona, PSG paid the release clause. And you go back to how that started, it was really like a fight situation because Barcelona tried to poach a PSG player and they got angry and they were like, we're going to get Neymar. Now, this is a much different situation this time because you got a club that's looking like they want to get rid of a player, not get rid of them, but they want to sell a player. So it's just like the difference between if a guy has a for sale sign on his house or you see a guy living in his house and having a good time and you're like, hey, I want you to get out that house and give it to me. So it's going to be a difference, right? If the guy has the for sale sign, you can negotiate with him. But if you're coming to a guy that's in his house having a good time and just telling him to leave, you have to pay for that. So that's basically where the release clause comes in. But let me know your thoughts on this one. PSG showing more and more interest in Victor Osimhen. And it looks like Victor Osimhen is kind of willing to listen. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And please don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.